Hey there, welcome to the Hot Slice, a weekly podcast brought to you by Pizza Today magazine. I am your host, Jeremy White, editor-in-chief of Pizza Today, joined today by creative director Josh Keown. What's up, Josh?
Hello, Jeremy. How are you?
Yeah, it's February. As we record this a couple days in advance, it is Groundhog Day, and I guess we are in for 6 more weeks of winter, according to Punxsutawney Phil.
Go ahead and bring it on. It's not like we were doing anything anyway, so, just bring it on.
We've been in about 12 months of winter, it seems
right.
like.
What's another 6 weeks?
In a blizzard. What's another 6 weeks?
So today we are, first of all, 2 things. The registration for Pizza Expo opened today.
That's correct. Visit pizzaexpo.com.
Yep, June 22nd through 24th. Las Vegas Convention Center. And Denise reached out to me today. She said, you guys be sure next week is our Ask Pizza Today episode on the Hot Slice. So if you have any questions, send them our way, reach out to us on social media and ask away so we can answer your questions next week on the Hot Slice.
We did that a few weeks ago. I guess it's actually been a couple months ago now, and it all runs together. But we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of good questions from our readers and show attendees, and we had a lot of fun with it. So I cannot wait to see what we're asked this time around.
Yeah, drop us either a DM on Instagram or Twitter, or reach out to us on Facebook, or if you got our emails, email away as well. But and today we are interviewing one of our favorite people in the industry, Joe Fugere. Go for it.
Joe Fugere, Tutta Bella Neapolitan Pizza in Seattle, Washington. He is hands down one of our best friends in this industry. He's a phone call away if we ever need anything. He's right there to help us out, and we absolutely love the guy.
Yeah, we've been there a few times, and every time I just come back so inspired. Like, I even say in the conversation that, the first time I was there, I was thinking about just getting an application, just staying there and working for him. But the culture that he is, he's put in there is amazing, and it's addictive, and you just kind of want more of it. So,
it seems to me like it's probably been about 15 years, a dozen to 15 years ago, we went on our first visit to Tutta Bella. Mm-hmm. And it was really an aha moment for both of us. It was an eye-opening experience. I had Neapolitan pizza previously, but I think I'd been served a poor incarnation of Neapolitan pizza, and I didn't have the highest opinion of it based on what I had. I had a very wet, soupy pizza that didn't have much flavor. And I don't think you'd even had a Neapolitan pizza.
No, I had not. No.
We go out there and we see it done right, really for the first time ever for us. We saw it done right. And the espresso and the cocktail menu and all the
attention to detail on everything was just blew me away.
The people, the way they treated their employees, the way they treated their customers, the way walking into a Tutta Bella store, sitting down and dining was an experience. It was a night out. Everything about it just really opened our eyes, and honestly, it blew us away. And then Joe couldn't have been a more cordial host, and it was love at first sight. It was just the whole crew, everyone that works for Joe, and many of them still working for Tutta Bella to this day in higher positions. Everything about it just blew us.
If I recall, when we go to visit a pizzeria, we're usually there like 2 hours or so, but I think we were for Joe like 6 hours that day. I think he took us to like several locations. We were there for with the 6, and it just felt like it flew by. So
it felt like 5 minutes. We went from Columbia City to, we went through various neighborhoods, and then because he's a cool guy and we all hit it off, he would take us to see a few touristy spots. We saw the home Kurt Cobain lived in until the time of his death. We saw some really cool stuff. It was just a really fun day that really taught us both. It was an education for both of us many, many years ago. And I think I'll never forget that trip.
Yeah, and I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of this conversation to see how Joe has adapted in 2020. It's just kind of mind blowing because you're strict Neapolitan place, and then you're going to go to get grab and go items, at the grocery store. I mean, it's the evolution is just, it's pretty mind blowing.
It is. He's got so much going on, and we could talk about it for days, but I think we should just bring Joe on right now and let him tell the world what's up in Seattle, what's up with Tutta Bella.
Sounds good.
Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide. For over 32 years, the multi-award-winning PDQ POS system has consistently been a top-rated point-of-sale system for pizzerias, delivery, and quick service. With built-in and seamless integrations to all top-tier third-party platforms, native online ordering and rewards, contactless POS functionality, and a delivery toolkit app that enhances all aspects of delivery, PDQ POS will help your restaurant achieve sustained growth while saving time, effort, and costs. Learn more today at pdqpos.com or call 877-968-6430. That's 877-968-6430.
Joe, I haven't seen you in so long, and I know you know this, but I love you dearly. You are one of my favorite people in this entire industry. I've always enjoyed any time I get to sit down with you, break bread with you in Seattle, or even just have an espresso with you or run into you on the Pizza Expo show floor and now on Zoom. I miss your face. I love you. I love your whole crew. What's new at Tutta Bella right now? I know there's 1,000,001 things going on, but what's really new right now?
Well, Jeremy, before I even get to that, I just have to kind of write back at you. You entered, my life when I was early on and as an entrepreneur, and you kind of helped me navigate the pizza world. You invited me to Pizza Expo, and I eventually ended up being a keynote as well.
Yeah.
That's a lot of that's due to you, and I can't thank you enough. My team, loves you as well, and I tell you, there's only one magazine that is piled up on my on my credenza back here, and it's Pizza Today. I read it, I use it as a reference. I'm often pulling things out and putting pictures up, and I don't know, you probably see some of the pages from Pizza Today. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't just because we were going to talk today, but it's such a connection. You're family, and that means a lot to me. It kind of supersedes business, if you will, and it's just nice to know that we can have that relationship.
Yeah, my first year, I think, is when I went out to see you. Like the first time we went out to see you was like my first year of being at Pizza Today. And I was like, you just set the bar so high. I mean, it was like, I was like, man, I kind of want to ask for an application. I mean, I really want to work here.
I think on the food side, the Neapolitans set the bar high 300 years ago by making this incredible pizza that we're still making today. But on the business side, that's where I think this kind of the nexus happened, when you could bring these great values of caring for people and creating a family and caring about the environment, and then add into it these 300 years of tradition, and then wrap it all up in an attitude of innovation. It just kind of magic happens. And it was not intentional. It just kind of evolved and happened. But, you asked about what's new, and the other thing behind me right now is a wall calendar, and I was taking down the 2020 and putting up the 2021, and I had circled a day. It was March 7th of 2020, which was the day that we closed down due to COVID. So March 7th of this year will be our 1-year anniversary of being, in one sense or another, different than we were before. And it was that day that our world changed forever, and it will always be different. I mean, even coming out of COVID, our mantra at Tutta Bella is coming out stronger. We figured, we could either climb under a rock and, maybe collect some PPP money and hope that it all goes away and then reemerge when COVID disappeared. We didn't know how long that would be, by the way, back a year ago. Right. Or we could, just kind of step in, lean forward, and say, how can we make the best of this? What can we do as a business to survive and keep our employees gainfully employed and, our customers happy? And so we did all the things that other restaurants do, which is, really focus on making takeout and delivery. We weren't that good a year ago. it would take out a delivery. You know, I think the technology was weak in our regard. Even the layout of our restaurants wasn't really designed for takeout and delivery. Curbside didn't exist. Our holding equipment didn't exist. We didn't do delivery ourselves. We didn't really believe in third-party delivery because we wanted to control it from, you know, the oven to the customer's door ourselves. So we had to adjust and adapt in the way a lot of other restaurants did. Thankfully, I think we can all say this as an industry, pizza is one of those categories where people were already, takeout, delivery. So we decided to, our other mantra besides coming out stronger was delivery dominance. We wanted to look at the best players in our market, learn from them, because they were the bigger ones that weren't the national chains were better at it than us, frankly. So, you know, what did they do in all those regards we talked about? Design, packaging, holding, technology, website, you know, apps, and just learn from them and beat them at the game. So we're about 6 or 7 months into our delivery dominance campaign, and we've done some really amazing things. You just look at the charts, it's just like this phenomenal growth. So when we come back out of it, when the dining rooms open back up, we don't want that to go away. We want to still be strong in delivery and, you know, enhance. The other thing we've learned about our restaurants is that our menus were getting a little bit too wide. I'm not saying we should drop cocktails or, you know, that thing, but, or that type of thing, but maybe just look at the things that weren't selling and trim it a little bit and just be really narrow and deep in our focus. So those are the two things that most restaurants are doing. I think the thing that I'm most proud of is that we stepped way outside the box because we had opened a experimental, what's called a grocerant, a restaurant inside of a grocery store. Really interesting arrangement. Most, you know, this has happened across the country. The difference between what we did with this Kroger concept out here called QFC and others is that we ran it with our people. In fact, the CEO of Kroger, or the CEO of QFC said that, you know, they preferred that we did. We were insistent. The more they thought about it, they preferred it because they said, you know, you guys know your product, you know the pizza technique, you know, we'll just mess it up. We're going to put, you know, a couple, you know, people in hairnets and screw it up, you know.
Right.
So that was great. And then the arrangement, you know, which is confidential, but I'm willing to share kind of the general specifics or the general arrangement is that we're on a revenue share. So we don't pay rent, but we share revenue with the grocery store. And,
I see.
And so they did the build out for us, and we just kind of operate it with an Italian wood burning oven. You know, we're in 800 square feet, which is great because we don't have to worry about, you know, walk-in space or dishwasher space or dry inventory, dry storage. We get to use all of that from the grocery store and just focus on that 800 square feet that we're in. And so, you know, that was a good experiment. But what took off, Jeremy, in addition to the pizzas, of course, was this little cooler that we put in the front counter that was they're grab-and-go items. So our tiramisu, some Italian sodas, salads, some pastas, lasagna, spaghetti and meatballs, bolognese, rigatoni, that type of thing.
Nice.
And so the day that, and this was all pre-COVID. So the day that COVID hit, the CEO of QFC called and said, I'm devastated for you guys because I know how hard the restaurant industry is going to be, is hit. You know, I've been reading it and seeing it in the newspaper, and I can only imagine how devastating it must be for you. So let me help out. She offered to hire as many of our people as possible because the grocery stores needed the help.
Right.
Yeah.
She decided to allow our food truck to park in any one of their 63 parking lots. Our choice. No rent, no charge, no revenue share. It was just, we want to help you out.
Nice.
So we took our food truck out of hibernation and started pulling it into different grocery store parking lots. And that was an immediate bump to our revenue. And then then we discovered that these grab-and-go items I was talking about, the salads, the packaged salads and desserts and pastas, they were selling pretty well. And she said, what if we took just that program, that 6-foot case, if you will, or 4-foot case, and plopped that into some of our other grocery stores where there isn't a pizza oven.
Wow.
And just sold those items. So we were talking about it, and I said, well, how many locations? And she goes, well, how about half of our locations? That would be 32 locations, 31 locations. And internally I was thinking, how am I going to pull this off?
Right. Where am I going to make all this pasta?
Where are we going to make all this? Right. And we did it. I mean, we're now in 30 some locations, and we're selling, I think 1,000 items a day of these
amazing
goods. Yeah. Oh, and then we added just 3 weeks ago, take and bake pizzas. So we're par baking pizzas. We bought a vacuum sealer, which is not a cheap piece of equipment, by the way.
No.
It's like $8,000, something like that. And now we're par baking in the wood-fired ovens our crust and our sauce, and then we're topping it with cooked items and cheese, vacuum sealing it. You know, others across the country are doing this and freezing it. We're selling it in the deli section in about 10 stores now. We hope to expand that.
So,
wow.
First of all, you have an amazing partnership there going on. I mean,
oh, Josh, it's crazy. I mean, it's not only the pizza and the salads and the pizzerias and the restaurants, but we're talking a frozen food section that would include things like tortellini, ravioli, and gnocchi. We have our retail tomatoes. I mean, we started out with just these cans of whole tomatoes, and they sold so well that we've added crushed.
Oh wow!
And diced, all under our private label.
Fantastic.
And so we're in 200 stores now selling.
Oh my goodness!
I know, right? It's just, and we're talking to a manufacturer in New Jersey that does premium jarred sauces like tomato sauce, pizza sauce, bolognese, Alfredo, whatever it might be. And they do private label, and we've sent them our recipes with an NDA. And in about, I think 2 weeks from now, we get the samples back. And if we like them, and because I'm really picky, as you guys know,
sure,
if they meet our stringent kind of quality bar, then we're gonna pitch that to the grocery store as well. And this partner that Josh was talking about, QFC, what I love about them is their willingness to try new things. You know, if you're a big guy and you want space on the grocery shelves, you have to pay for it. They call it slotting fees or whatever. But these guys just love us, and they're willing to help us out however they can. So it's been a great ride. So that's the other bucket, I guess, I wanted to talk to you about that's happened since COVID.
So how did you pull it off? You said you pulled it off. Where you making all this food at?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question, because we took our private dining room. We had a really large, you guys remember in Bellevue when you were out here?
Mm-hmm.
We had the private dining room that we had kind of built for Microsoft, because we're like a mile and a half from the Microsoft campus. And we built it to be self-contained almost, with the separate, stations and things. And we tore up the carpet, took out the dividing walls, grinded the floors down, put in a food-safe floor, created all these HACCP plans, and now we're getting certified by the USDA to produce as a production facility. So we converted a private dining room into a production facility.
Nice.
It's crazy. I'll have to send you guys some pictures.
Yeah.
It even blows me away. We worked with a company that does this for tech companies that are developing or they're producing these silicon chips and things that for computers and devices, and it had to be highly sanitized environment. And they were able to pull it off. So put in some lighting and new ventilation, and it's crazy. We've got a blast chiller and a vacuum sealer and a labeler, and it's just crazy. I mean, I'm in a different business now.
You are. But I'm sitting here thinking, what a blessing, and how many of your employees were you able to keep employed during a time when many other restaurant employees were not able to work?
Yeah.
I would imagine that the production required quite a few hands on deck.
So we kept all of our salary managers, I think 24 salary managers, kept them fully employed on the same salary, didn't do any furloughs or even salary reduction. And our hourly employees, those that didn't get hired by QFC, which I think 20 or so of them did, the others we retained and shifted. Some of our servers became delivery drivers, others became production workers, And then the remainder, we set up a job desk. Brian Flickengar, our human resource manager, helped them navigate through employment security to make sure they were getting some of that funding that was available at the federal level, and then the employment security at the state level. So we just wanted to make sure that everyone either had a job at Tutta Bella, had a job in our new production facility, had a job at QFC, or were taken care of from an employment security. So 100% of our people were engaged, taken care of, contacted. We didn't leave anyone out to dry. And that was 180 employees.
Wow.
That's why we love you, is because of the incredible human being that you are. That is amazing. That is absolutely phenomenal that you were able to do that. Again, in a time where a lot of people were sitting home looking for some government funding. That's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah. The first time I visited, it was like the culture really just what drew me in. The culture that you created at Tutta Bella is untouchable. So, yeah. So what advice would you give a pizzeria operator that's maybe just trying to find themselves, trying to find their culture, or just starting up in the pizza business?
Well, for me, it was, listen to your mother, because she instilled in me some of the best values of being a human being, generosity, care and concern, try to be humble when you can. It's hard when you're in the restaurant business. Your ego wants to surface all the time because you want to, it's almost like a marketing tool. You want to tell stories. You want to talk about how great you are to customers. But I think the biggest way to communicate how great you are is to live it, is to show it. Another thing my mother used to say is, don't tell me you're sorry, show me you're sorry. And it's like, don't tell me how great you are, show me through your actions. And I think if you wake up every day and think, how can I demonstrate what I want to become not by saying it, it's important to get it out there, but what good is a purpose statement if it's just a sign on the wall? It's really got to be people telling stories about you because they've experienced you, your actions, your behavior. So that would be one bit of advice. The other, I think we've talked about this before, is, follow your heart. You got to do what you love and find a way to incorporate it into the, you're in the pizza business because you probably love the pizza business, but there's other things in your life that you love as well. And if you can, instead of separating, people talk about work-life balance. I kind of talk about, kind of work-life, just tying it all together instead of trying to have a certain amount of, time at work, a certain amount of time at home. It's like, you just kind of blend it. It's more of a work-life blend,
Mm-hmm.
if you will, and enjoy from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Just make it meaningful. It doesn't, and that means in the middle of the day, you may take the kids to soccer practice or whatever it is. You blend it in, and we encourage that from all of our. I don't get angry with a manager that needs to leave. They're not going to leave at noon or at 6 o'clock, but if they have to do something personally, we encourage it. We don't ever say anything about people that want to blend their lives together, So that would be the other thing.
One thing about you that jumped out as well.
Quality is the other. Is just stay committed to quality.
Anyway,
go ahead, Drew.
You are quality oriented, no doubt about it. But one thing that jumped out to me early in Tutta Bella, because if I remember correctly, you opened with one small store in Columbia City.
Yeah.
Right. You took a risk, but from day one, Tutta Bella behaved, even though it was very quality driven and very ingredient focused and storytelling focused and really all about the experience. From day one, you behaved as though you were a chain with 1,000 units. And what I mean by that is, you didn't say, well, we might serve some alcohol. You said we're going to have a cocktail program. You didn't say we may serve some coffee. We're going to have a coffee program. And you had a marketing manager, and you had a menu development manager. You had someone in charge of a sustainability program so that you could be an environmentally conscious business. You had someone in charge of human resources. You had someone in charge of graphics and design. And even though you were a very small company, you were allocating resources and your mental energies in the direction that you would have to do if you were a 500 store chain. You were already thinking about a holistic program and not just serving pizza with an Italian theme and some beer, right? Where did that come from? Was this your time at, another large corporate
Yeah,
company?
well, I have, in my DNA, I work for some pretty large companies,
Right.
Westin Hotels and Starbucks, for example. But I think so. That's there in the back of the brain, if you will. But what we did was, because it just listening to you makes it sound like I was hiring ahead of the curve and I made all these investments.
It sure seems that way to us.
It seems that well. So okay, so that was a good charade. No, I shouldn't say that. It honestly, here's what happened. As we continued to grow and the need evolved for human resources or the green program manager, whatever it was, I found existing managers that had a love. You talk about, do what you love, had a love for these different elements of the business, whether it be, what we call focused community partnerships, the environment, purchasing, marketing, and none of them had, I didn't say none of them, most of them didn't have formal training in any of the above. They just had a passion for it. And so what we did, and you remember this when you came out and wrote the story for the Pizzeria of the Year, Independent Pizzeria of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things you focus on with these program managers. So what we did was take a general manager or a kitchen manager or a dining room manager, and we just gave them a second title. So they became the green program manager or the marketing manager or the, whatever, purchasing manager, whatever it might be. And they wore two hats at the time. They weren't making any more money. They were just doing what they loved. Then as we grew and we were able to afford to carve that out, this happened at other great companies I was involved, like Starbucks. Baristas became VPs. Like, you just saw the path, right? They're pulling shots one day and they're dealing with multi-million-dollar contracts for coffee cups the next day. And I think maybe that was in the back of my brain as well. It's like, why not build careers here as well? And so some of those people went on to hold, positions in the company. Some of them went off and held positions at other companies, or we brought some other people in. It was just a matter of, using the resources that we had and giving people the opportunity to do what they love.
Did that make it easier for you to grow when you did begin adding locations? Did it feel like you just already had a solid plan in place, or was every new location still,
yeah, well,
nice and fresh?
Every new location is always kind of a big deal. What happened was, as we continued to grow and our volumes grew, that was a little bit taxing to wear that second or third hat. So we had to. Now you have a GM that is trying to run a restaurant, also trying to do all these other things, and there's only so many 50, 60-hour work weeks that you want to put in, and so we had to then pull some stuff back, either put them in permanently in that position or pull it back. Mm-hmm. So not everything is always works out perfectly, but it's the intent that matters, at the end of the day. Yeah.
So 2020 was what it was, but so, and you've adapted well. So going forward, 2021, 2022, what do you, I know, with the way things are going, you really can't look too far out in advance, but what are you guys looking to do next? What's on the horizon?
Oh, that's a great question. There's so many, if I could take this computer and take you back to my war desk, I call it, right behind the wall here, there's just a table full of crazy ideas and renderings and you name it. But there's the Tutta Bella of the future, we call it. What does a post-COVID restaurant look like? How much space is devoted to carry out? How much space is devoted in the kitchen or even on the curb to curbside? Are those curbside spots covered? What is the air circulation? How clean does the air need to be in the restaurants and the dining rooms moving forward? What does it look like from a waste management? And also we're talking about heat recovery. Our ovens, produce a lot of heat. Can we capture some of that heat that's escaping the oven and then use it to heat our water or our floors or whatever it might be? So we're talking to engineers and architects and maybe even teaming up with them so that we could do like a national launch of the restaurant of the future. What does a restaurant look like post-COVID? We also have a project code word. I can share it with you because it probably doesn't surprise people that we all have to pivot and look at different concepts. We're calling it Tutta Bella Piccolo. That won't be the name of it, but it's a small Tutta Bella. the average Tutta Bella is, let's say 4,000 square feet now. What does an 1,800 square foot, Tutta Bella look like? And now that we're having these 800 or even as small as 400 square foot kiosks, what do those look like moving forward? So we put them in universities and hospitals and airports and, whatever it might be. So we're experimenting, we're exploring that option. And then this whole area of what we call CPG, consumer product goods. How far do we go with that to become, do we want to be a national brand when it comes to frozen pizzas or bottled sauces or, packaged pastas or that type of thing? And then continue to strengthen our relationship with QFC. We're only in half of their stores. There might be other stores under the Kroger umbrella that might be interested in us as well. So there's a lot of things that we can kind of continue to subscription services. That a lot of pizzerias these days are getting into the frozen pizza game. You probably have written stories about it. But one of the things that comes up is the idea of subscriptions where people could order, be in a pizza club where they automatically get a dozen pizzas delivered every month and put them in the freezer and they have, a couple pizzas a week or something like that. So
like Chewy, but instead of for your dog, it's for your family, right? You just
exactly. And no, you're right, Jeremy. And so we have crazy ideas out there. We're not short on ideas. I can tell you that. It's all about being short on maybe the ability to pull them all off. And, funding is important. So we're talking to investors, we're talking to friends and family, trying to decide how we might fund the next big thing for Tutta Bella.
Josh, we need to, we missed out on the GameStop. We didn't get money in time.
Yeah.
We need to get money in Tutta Bella stock right now. It could be the next GameStop.
Yeah, right. That was a crazy story, wasn't it?
Insane.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it might be insider trading since we just talked to Joe, so that's probably can't do that.
Hey, I know. Let's cut that part out of it. Did you hear about the kid that was like someone had gifted him some shares, and he's like 10 years old. I could be getting the facts wrong, but now he's got all this money because he had a few shares of game.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Well, you're such a visionary. Josh, we Kroger is heavily in the Louisville market, and I would love to see Tutta Bella in Louisville, even if it's inside the Kroger and it's not a big, beautiful Tutta Bella like we've seen. I would love to see Tutta Bella in Louisville.
Yeah, if I could run by on a Friday night and grab some of Joe's pizza on the way home, that would be outstanding.
You may remember this. Several years ago, I told you,
very, very nice, very nice.
Several years ago, I told you that if I ever decided to open a pizzeria, and you wouldn't sell me the one and only Tutta Bella franchise, that I would flat out rip off your concept and smack a different name on it, because you've done it so well, and I'm so in love with what you've done that I would just steal your concept and put a different name on it. I don't know if you remember me telling you.
I do. It's so
We've discussed it.
I am not going to name the pizzeria, but you would not be the first person that has done that. Good. I was visiting another city somewhere in the Southwest. I won't say where, and it was obviously a ripoff of Tutta Bella. It was just down to the menus, And I approached the counter, and I think it was the owner that was there, and I said, "Wow, you got a really nice place here." And he said, "Well, thank you." And I said, "Have you ever been to Tutta Bella? It reminds me of Tutta Bella," is what I said. And he said, "Oh," and he looked at me. And then it all started to click. And he goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "I have studied your pizzeria. And as you can tell, I was inspired." And he goes, "I hope you're not mad at me." And I said, "No, actually, I'm flattered that, this industry is an industry of ripoffs. We borrow things from people all the time. And I'm flattered. And, we all, like Josh, you were saying, you can't replicate the culture of a company. You can try, but you create your own culture. Jeremy, even as much as you're like me, you're going to have your own culture. So you could rip off Tutta Bella. Go ahead. I'll just send you why don't I just make it easy? I'll send you all the recipes.
Thank you. Well, Josh, it's like the movie Coming to America. You have McDonald's, you have McDowell's. And we're going to call ours Tutta Bella.
With
you
2 A's.
In China, when I was working for Starbucks, there were so many rip-offs of the the Starbucks logo.
I bet.
They're all green and they all had stars in them. They're all slightly different. But I was sent to China to actually do a little bit of underground investigating on how bad the ripoff was.
I didn't realize you were into internal espionage as well. You've done everything. Before Joe ends up getting kidnapped by the military, I think we'll let him go about his business for the rest of the day, Josh.
Yeah, well, thanks you guys. Always good to talk with you. I'm here whenever you need me, and keep doing what you're doing. You see I think, is that the latest pizza today, the winter warm up, or is that an older one?
You're
2 months ago.
You're close. You're like 2 issues.
Sandwich. Well, you have a sandwich. One of your sandwiches is in the latest issue. It's a sandwich issue. Brian sent me a few photos of the sandwiches. So yeah, I think your eggplant sandwich I put in there. So.
Oh, great. The porchetta is to die for. I'm telling you. We take a big old, piece of pork and slow roasted, and yeah.
You're making me hungry.
I know. Well, come out and see me, guys, please.
As soon as we can, we shall.
As soon as we can.
All right.
Cannot wait.
Isn't there a Pizza Today jet you can jump on or something? And
right.
Maybe back in the day.
Like Air Force 2 is what we call it. So yeah.
Air Force 2. Oh, that's a whole other can of worms we could go down. But
that's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other podcast.
We'll do a political podcast sometime with you.
You guys are great.
Hey,
I miss you guys so much, and looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, give the crew our best from us, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay safe and healthy, and look forward to the next Pizza Expo, whenever that may be.
We'll see you then.
We'll see you in June, my friend.
All right. Okay. Take care.
Thanks for your time.
Likewise. Take care. Bye.
See you.